Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversation that includes respect for opinions, facts, and diversity. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeice Wheeler Attorneys, River Ridge Hardware, and Rana Paint.
Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you'll find news, views, and conversation. On this week's episode, we'll have segments from Library Out Loud, Business Talks, and Youth Spotlight. Today on Youth Spotlight,
we're currently actually learning about the current refugee crisis, and I just kind of really felt like I needed to do anything I could.
Host Brady Magruder talks with Katelyn, Devine, and Shea Handelman about the Global Neighborhood English Program, which teaches the English language to refugees in need. Next,
your customer doesn't ultimately care about your story. They care about how your product fits into their story.
Curt Stockwell, Well-Dressed Walrus, discusses his podcast, The Human Side of Marketing, on Business Talks. This is part 3 of a multi-part series with Curt Stockwell. But first,
it's wonderful, a wonderful place to start, kind of a kicking off point for your adventure.
Gwendolyn and Diana sit down on Library Out Loud to discuss Check Out Washington backpacks that feature trail guides, binoculars, and a Washington Discover Pass, available for checkout soon at Spokane County Library District locations.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rana Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rana Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Hello and welcome to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker, and joining me today is Gwendolyn Haley, Public Service Manager at the Spokane County Library District. Hello. And also our special guest is Diana Dupuis. And Diana, you are the area manager for the Inland Northwest area of the Parks Department. Yes. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
And why you're my guest today is we have an exciting new program coming to the Spokane County Library District, and that is the Check Out Washington, and it's the Discover Passes.
That's right.
At the library. Gwendolyn, tell us about how this program works.
You bet. I'm so excited about this. As starting next March 15th, families will be able to check out a backpack like this, and it comes with a special Library Discover Pass that has the Check Out Washington logo on it, and these are good. And they'll check out for 1 week at a time, and you just hang this on your car,
your rearview mirror,
like you would another Discover Pass. And then along with the binoculars, there's maps to all of the area state parks, and Diana will talk more about what's around here that's so fabulous. And then we've included some field guides to help families kind of identify what they're looking at, so you can check out some birds and some wildlife, maybe a river otter or something, and see what you're looking at. And so we've got all of these, and you can reserve these on our website at scld.org. They check out for 1 week, and then you check all of it out and return all of it. That's the important part. But it gives everyone a chance to really experience the parks here in our Eastern Washington area, especially if you haven't done it before.
Absolutely. A great way to get out and get outside.
Yes.
Check out our local area and bring the family, get the kids away from the screens, get out of the house and see what's out there.
Yeah.
And a great opportunity, great partnership that we have between the library and the Parks Department. And Diana, I'm so thrilled that you're here today because you have the greatest job, and you get to oversee the correct me, Riverside State Park,
yes,
Centennial Trail,
yes,
and Mount Spokane,
yes, and a couple of others.
Oh my gosh! And as I've said a couple times, I think you have the greatest job, and we want to hear more about that. But we have to take a quick break, and when we come back from the break, let's talk about Riverside State Park, and you can tell us what to look for there once we've checked out our Discover Passes.
Right.
All right, so we'll be right back on Library Out Loud.
This is River Ridge Frame Shop, called Frame It Today, where we can take your art, customize it, and get it ready to hang on the wall. here at River Ridge Hardware, 2803 West Garland.
Welcome back to Library Out Loud. We're talking Washington State Parks and the Discover Pass program at the library with Gwendolyn Haley and Diana Dupuy. Diana, talk about Riverside State Park. If I get a Discover Pass, what should I do once I get there?
Well, Riverside is great because it's within the city limits of Spokane, and it's super easy to get to off of Aubriel White Parkway. It's wonderful, a wonderful place to start, kind of a kicking off point for your adventure. Riverside has a lot of civilian conservation corps structures, so if you're a history buff, you can look at an old restroom, which is much neater than it sounds. We have a kitchen shelter there in the park office and a residence that were all built by the CCC, as well as the swinging bridge, which I think is kind of the iconic place in Riverside.
Yeah.
And if you're a geology buff, of course, we have the bowl and pitcher, which are these huge basalt rock outcroppings, and as well as all sorts of geology throughout the park based on the Missoula floods that carved through many, many years ago. If you are interested in wildlife, you can bird along the river, everything from herons to ospreys to bald eagles. If you're lucky enough, you can see one of the raptors dive into the water and pick up a fish and take it off to eat.
Oh, so cool. Yeah.
It's a pretty neat experience. It really is. And then we have the kinglets and woodpeckers and mountain bluebirds and all sorts of things within the park proper. So there's a variety of things to do and things to explore, whether you're 220 or, well, I guess we don't live to 200 yet, but but I think that we have lots of miles of hiking trails. You can take your mountain bike. You can bring your dog with you. We welcome your four-legged friends. Please keep them on leash to protect them and to protect the wildlife. You can hike. You can bring your horse if you're an equestrian person. We allow equestrian use on the trails.
Well, that's very neat.
So we have a multi-recreational park right here within the city limits, and it's a great place to start if you're new to the Discover Pass, new to state parks, and you're checking this out and you want some really great sights to see and some great flora and fauna to experience. I mean, what a cool program with the library to get people out and into their parks.
Yeah, excellent. It is a cool program. Again, it starts this month, March 15th.
Yes.
And again, quickly, Gwendolyn, how do you check it out?
You go to our website at scld.org and look in our catalog under Library of Things. You can also search Check Out Washington or search for Discover Pass in our catalog. And you can place it on hold just like you would a book and have it sent to the library that's closest to you to pick up. And it checks out for 7 days, and you have time to explore the wonderful riches we have here in the Inland Northwest.
Great program. Thanks for your work on that. And we'll be checking those out at the library. So check us out on scld.org, and we'll see you next time on Library Out Loud.
Next up on Youth Spotlight, Brady Magruder sits down and discusses teaching English to refugees in need.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at Mcneice Wheeler Attorneys. Mcneice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact Mcneice Wheeler Attorneys.
Hello, Spokane Talks listeners. My name is Brady Magruder, and I am your host of Youth Spotlight. And today we are here with Katelyn, Devine, and Shea Handelman, two very special young girls. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Welcome. So glad to have you. How are you guys doing?
Doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing swell. So I want to congratulate you guys for being here. And you guys are seniors at the community school here in Spokane. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
So we're seniors at the community school. We have the same advisor, Dave. I've been helping my community for a long time. I started in 5th grade. And I just love helping others. It makes myself feel good, and I know that I'm helping my community in the same way.
Yeah, that's a long time. What about you, Katelyn?
I've always loved to help people. Even the career path I want someday involves helping people as well. So I guess I just like to be a part of this community any way I can. And then aside from like, I like to write and I like to do poetry, but yeah.
That's really, really cool. And so let's talk about the reason that you guys are here today, and that's for the Global Neighborhood English Program, where you guys are going out to the local thrift store here in Spokane and are helping out refugees in need, teaching them English, and helping them assimilate here. And so why don't you talk a little bit more about that program?
So for this program, the refugees that are working at Global Neighborhood Thrift Store, during their breaks, they have the option to come see us, and we go over there and we teach them basic things like, how to get a job, get an application, call 911. And even if they do seem basic, it can be really important for them.
Mm-hmm. Of course. So with this program, seems like I've never heard of it, and I'm wondering what exactly got you guys attracted to doing this, being a part of this program and helping out these refugees.
So for me, excuse me, my aunt and uncle, they take in refugees. They partnered with World Relief, and so I visited one of the families that they were homing, and just teaching them some English that. Because all that they were using was just Google Translate, because they knew, they didn't even know how to say hello.
Right.
So just teaching them even just that one word meant a lot, because that's one thing that they know how to say. That's one thing that they were able to repeat to everyone. So.
Right. That's great. Okay, so we will be right back, and then we're going to talk about what got you attracted to joining this program and the importance of this program and what you as the listeners can do. We'll be right back. Thank you guys so much.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome back to Youth Spotlight. I'm here with Katelyn, Devine, and Shea Handelman. So, Katelyn, why don't you talk about a little bit about what sparked your interest in joining the Global Neighborhood English Program?
Okay, so when this opportunity did get brought up, we were currently actually learning about the current refugee crisis, and I just kind of really felt like I needed to do anything I could, and so I was like, I need to do this. I want to help them just work with other people out in the community. And not only that, but something that I've learned is when you help others, you aren't just teaching, they're also teaching you. So
that's really interesting. I really, really like that. And so I'm wondering, before we continue, if there are any specific stories or memories that you guys can think of about your experience with the refugees. Oh, you're already laughing.
So there's this one story. There's this woman named Sarah who I was help teaching the alphabet, and I have very interesting hiccups. So I accidentally hiccuped, and I said sorry, and her response was, "Baby?"
Oh.
And Apple and I, Katelyn and I were very...
I was working with the other students, and I just hear baby, and I turn around, and I'm like, what?
What?
And then it caught everyone's attention, because she was like, baby, and then Zuena and Bakta were married, and so it just spiraled from a hiccup to babies and marriage, and we're like, no, it was a hiccup.
Neither.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was really cool, because Sarah's usually really shy, and we finally got to see her personality, so that was special too.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Where usually somebody who is already so feeling out of place in a country that's not even their own finally gets to express that personality. Sure. That's really great. And so community service and helping out those in need is incredibly important to you guys. And I'm sure that you can attest to that. And so I'd really like to thank you for helping out. And so for anybody else that really wants to be a part of the Global Neighborhood English program and to help out more, you guys can contact us at Spokane Talks. We can get you in touch with Katelyn and Shea. We can help put you guys and give you references to other services that you can provide. So thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Next up on Business Talks, Curt Stockwell of Well Dressed Walrus, Part 3, The Human Side of Marketing.
This is River Ridge Frame Shop, called Frame It Today, where we can take your art, customize it, and get it ready to hang on the wall. Here at River Ridge Hardware, 2803 West Garland.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan Mcneice, and we're here in the studio with Curt Stockwell, Well Dressed Walrus. We've been doing a Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 segment on the human side of marketing. Curt, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Complex issues in all respective segments that we've done, which is why you also do a podcast of the same name.
That's right.
iTunes, etc., via Well Dressed Walrus. Tell us what problem we're trying to solve. It's complex.
We're trying to solve the problem of marketing that doesn't work.
Which every business has that question.
I would say most businesses, large and small, are wasting money, a lot of time, a lot of stress on marketing that just doesn't work.
And whether it's a small business or a big business advertising at the Super Bowl, it's conceptually the same problem.
It's the same problem. And using the elements of story, we can fix this problem. Human beings understand story. We've used story for thousands and thousands of years. Even before the written word, there was story. When you can tell a story that invites your customers into understanding how your product fits into their story, you will win in the marketplace.
It's such a good point, because I think we all err on what's the business's story rather than what's the customer's story.
No offense. I don't care about your story. I want to know.
You care about mine. But
I don't.
Oh,
no, I do.
Okay, that's your point.
Your customer doesn't ultimately care about your story. They care about how your product fits into their story. So in this episode that we just recently recorded, we talk about step one is the character, or is the customer. Mm-hmm. Really understanding, what does the customer value. Now, you might think, my customer wants to buy this thing. They want to buy my plumbing services. They want to buy my lawn care service. Mm-hmm. They want to buy this thing related to their health. But ultimately, what value are they looking for? They might be buying this tangible thing, but ultimately they're looking for some sort of value that they can recognize. And they can't recognize this value if you're using jargon, if you're using industry speak, if you're using shop talk. You will just be noisy just like everybody else.
And a great point, Curt, because we all respectively know our own industry shop talk, if you will, but we step outside of our industries, and we are too that customer that wants to be spoken to in a way that we can learn and conceptually understand how to solve our problem.
I'm convinced that the more simple the words you use in your marketing, the better you will stand out, the more you will stand out in this noisy marketplace. Businesses and organizations default to complex words because they feel like it makes them smarter. I think the smartest people in marketing are actually using more simple language.
I think you're right. And if you're wanting to reach out over that bridge and create engagement, simplicity is the key. Yep. Let's take a short little break and come right back with Curt Stockwell, Well Dressed Walrus. Welcome back to Business Talks. Right before the break, we were talking about this concept of who's the customer, who's the character in the story.
Right.
Give us some more on that.
Right. So the character in your story is your customer. That's also the hero. Every good story has a hero. that we can easily recognize. So when your customers are coming and engaging with your marketing, whether that be something in print, whether that be a website, whether that be social media, whether that be the words that you say maybe at a networking event, if I can't clearly understand how do I fit into your store, into the story about your product, how do I fit in the product that you're selling, then I'm likely going to disengage. And if you're using complex words, especially, I'm going to disengage because I want to understand, have clarity in what you're offering.
And likely that good point, because that speaking engagement then is not a success. At the end of the day, who are you trying to please if you didn't engage or clearly communicate?
We like to say when we work with businesses and organizations, what we like to say is, when we're done with this service or with this process, your customers will be able to repeat what you do. And when things are complex, we can't repeat it because we've all experienced it before. You had a conversation with somebody, or maybe it was actually kind of engaging, and you walk away, oh, well, that was interesting. What did they do? I don't know really what they do, but he was a nice guy.
Right.
So you left with a nice guy that I don't really understand what they do. But if you can really use clear words and invite people into a story about them, then it will not only be understandable for that individual, but they will be able to repeat it. And almost you've got a sales force of people that just think you're great.
Well, and you've touched on this concept of the elevator speech, if you will.
Yeah.
And if you're not clearly communicating that respective elevator speech, then the communication in itself, the engagement broke down.
Right, and it really this whole process starts with step one of understanding who's your customer or the character or the hero in the story. And we talked about how in subsequent shows we're going to talk about what the character's problem is, the fact that we are actually just a guide for the character, and we're bringing them into an idea of, hey, this is how you're going to find clarity, and this is how you're going to find success at the end of the day.
Curt, you've done a great job of describing the trajectory of the story and marketing. We'll be back chatting again on segment 4. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Cindy Hval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
It's wonderful to be able to renew your driver's license online. That is, until you lose the renewal notice and forget all about it. When I finally remembered the time to renew online had passed, and I had to join approximately 100,000 other folks at the Department of Licensing. After a half an hour, an employee announced, "For those getting tired of waiting, we're 4 people short today. The estimated wait time is about an hour." People groaned, but no one budged. I opened my 900-page novel, and the guy next to me said, "You just may finish that book." I nodded and turned a page. "When I get up there, I'm ordering a cheeseburger," he confided, seemingly undaunted by my pointed page-turning. "Number 72, a voice announced. "That's me," I said, and leapt to my feet. A small smattering of polite applause broke out. I aced the vision test, and then came the part most women dread. "What's your current weight?" Should I tell him what I weigh on a good day, or what I wish I weighed, or should I just tell the truth? I sighed. I weigh 5 to 10 pounds more than what it says on my driver's license. The DOL employee smiled kindly. "You look good. We'll leave it the same." The Department of Licensing is known for hiring highly intelligent employees. Then he asked, "Do you have any mental or physical impairment that would interfere with your ability to operate a motor vehicle, aside from losing your renewal letter?" I shook my head, and minutes later I walked out into the sunshine and surveyed the crowded parking lot. My license will come in handy as soon as I can remember where I parked my car. And that's the renewed view from my front porch.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Spokane Talks. Join us next week for more news, views, and conversation.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at Mcneice Wheeler Attorneys. Mcneice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For For your full-service legal needs, contact Mcneice Wheeler, attorneys.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by Mcneice Wheeler Attorneys, River Ridge Hardware, and Rada Paint. We'll be back next week with additional news, views, and conversations. Please join us. So long for now.